Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another episode of my recap/review of Iyanla Fix My Life. This is episode 9, Sex Workers, Addicted to the Struggle. Alright you guys, so this is going to be a get ready with me. If you would like to watch and see how I put this face on, please continue watching. Alright, so we're going to start with our primer. So this episode is featuring Kenitra and Lauren. Kenitra is 28 years old and Lauren is 27 years old, and they are sex workers. Now let me start off by A, defining sex worker and for me, and B, letting you guys know what I think of sex working in general. So A, to me, sex workers are people who are in the sex industry. You are either selling the product, you're either putting the product on display, or you're involved in some role play with the product being sex. You could either be a webcam girl, you could be an escort, you could be a prostitute that's on the street, you can be a stripper, burlesque, anything that has to do with the sex industry and making money off of showing one's body or one's reproductive organs. So I don't think anything is wrong with being a sex worker. I feel like, especially if you're like a webcam girl, depending on the whole situation, I think it could be safe and lucrative. Least protective and probably the least lucrative are the women who are actually physically on the street walking around looking for tricks that pull up in a car. And I think if you are an adult who loves to have sex and approaches it in a healthy manner and it doesn't break down your spirit to do it because you genuinely love and enjoy it. This story to me is kind of sad, is because Kenitra and Lauren are sex workers because of financial strains. Lauren, 27 years old, she actually ran away from home at 15. She didn't have a very stable home environment. She was raised by her father and several stepmothers. And when she ran away, she went directly to being a prostitute. Now, part of me thinks that she ran away because she had some pimp or some guy who she thought was her boyfriend. I mean, she didn't go into detail about that, but she said she learned about prostitution on TV, and that it seemed like it was a lucrative way to make your money, that something that she could do. And so she tried it. I don't know what different circumstances Lauren has been through, but it would seem that Lauren, just based on how withdrawal she is with the whole process, seems like she's had a lot go on. She says that she suffered from depression, anxiety, and all kinds of stuff dealing with her situation. So Lauren breaks my heart. And then you have Kenitra, who got pregnant at 16 or 15. She was in high school, and it looks like her family had put a lot of stock into her being a softball player. And so she was probably destined to go to college for softball, and she got pregnant and her mother got upset and moved out. I'm not sure if they were living with her grandmother or what have you, but her mother moved out. It just was kind of like they completely let the family down. She says that she grew up in a small town and they put all this money and effort and energy into her being this softball player, and when she got pregnant, she just let everybody down, and it became a huge issue in her family, which I can absolutely see. You know, if you're already poor and you're trying to figure out ways to get your children to be successful in life, and they get pregnant, which seemingly seems like the end of the world, especially if you don't have any money. All of a sudden now you have to put all your money and energy towards that child, and you don't have the time to do all the extracurricular activities you once had time to do because there's nobody to watch your baby. So that makes sense. And so it looks like she was strained with her family for quite a while due to that situation. And that is kind of sad. It's sad that her mother upped and left her, but I do understand the frustration of the family. And so does Kenitra. She tries to say that she let her family down, and Iyanla pulls her back from that and says, you know, it's not about them, it's about you. And I don't agree with that. I'm like, if people are putting money into you and you do something to derail that, you know, thing, I could see them being upset. She says that she finally apologized to her family when she was 26 years old, which is 2 years ago, for getting pregnant and kind of dashing everyone's dreams and letting them down. And her relationship with them has gotten better. However, she is a prostitute. She refers to herself as an escort. So let me say that she's an escort. She says that she's been in and out of the business for a couple of years. She didn't start as young as Lauren. It looks like Lauren has been a prostitute since she was 15 and she's now 27 years old. So it's quite a bit of business with Lauren. Kenitra seems very open and ready for this healing, and Lauren just seems like she's not ready for it at all. I imagine that she might be going through a tiny bout of depression right now, and being on this show is not helping her. She's a little resistant, I would say. So anyways, we have at the beginning of it where Iyanla's sitting down having a conversation with the both of them. I feel like Kenitra's serving looks, like I'm feeling it. She gave us like a blonde wig. I wouldn't wear it, but like, it's cute. They start to talk about their home life. They start to talk about whether or not how involved their fathers were, how involved their families were, and just how, you know, basically how they got to this point in their lives as it is. And it seems that they've got a lot of work and healing to do, especially Lauren. After the initial conversation, Iyanla takes them into a room and they have silhouettes of themselves. Iyanla has an exercise where she's telling them just to put down words on a piece of paper and then nail those words to the silhouette. The silhouette is like a standing poster. And so they do, you know, put disconnected, you know, unloved, and all the things that you feel or have felt throughout the years as a prostitute. And just so they can get it all out in the open and clear the air and talk a lot about like what it was like for them and their experiences. Kenitra says that in the beginning it was hard for her. And then at a certain point, it wasn't hard anymore. She actually enjoys her work. You know, there was a time when she enjoys it and that she enjoys her clients. She enjoys having conversations with them. And then there's Lauren, who's just like completely doesn't want to do it and is like over it and feels used and abused and terrible, but she can't stop it because that's how she knows to make money. Kenitra says the same thing, that she tried the 9-to-5 thing. She was working in a factory is actually how it got started, and she got laid off from the factory. And her homegirl was like, I got some work for you. I know you're not going to want to do it. And then just made a decision a couple weeks later that she was going to do it. And that very night, she went to a motel with her and her friend and got paid either $108 or $180 for 30 minutes just to like have sex with her friend. And so she was just like, how can I deny, you know, the profitability of this line of work? Excuse my naivete. For those of you who might know, this is a question that I have because I get confused. I feel like a lot of the statements made about being a prostitute is that you make so much money so quick and that, you know, it's better than a 9-to-5 or as far as your availability to making as much money. But like my question then becomes, why stay in it? Like if you can just make the money quickly in 6 months and have like, I don't know, 10 racks, 20 racks in 6 months, why do you continue to do it? Like 20 racks is a lot. Like you could get yourself a little place, you know, get yourself a little job until you figure out what you want to do, go to school. Like, I think that there are ways of being in the sex industry to make it work for you. And unless you have like a pimp or somebody that's stopping you from making these choices, I don't understand why people get stuck in a rut of it. Like at some point, Lauren wants to leave and she's like, well, I got bills to pay. I got phone bills. I got whatever bills to pay. And I'm like, if you're making so much money being a sex worker, why don't you have money now? Like, why don't you have enough to ferret it away for you to survive at least a month without doing it? And Iyanla comes at her, I think, a little aggressively and says, like, you know, what are you going to do? Go out right now and like find some tricks right now and make a little money? And she's just like, no, I just feel like this whole process isn't helping me. And it's because she just isn't ready for the moves that it's trying to make. And I understand what she's feeling, because there have been times when I've gone to doctors to get help and they want me to like do things and I'm just like, how is this helping me? I already know this. I already know I'm depressed. I already know I'm sad. I already know I feel worthless. I don't need to write it down. Let's talk about it. Let's give me some medication, something. And I think that's what she wanted, like something right then, like this is how to fix it. And Iyanla takes you through a journey that you have to be willing to go through. And I think Lauren just wasn't, she just wanted the healing and she wanted it right away. It's like it was day 1 and she wanted the day 3 information already, you know? And I can see that being a frustration in her wanting that. So normally I get frustrated with people who are here on this show and then act like they didn't apply to be on this show and they're like, hi, this is no help and blah, blah, blah. But for her, I understand why she's frustrated. And also she's like, I wasn't prepared for all these cameras. And Iyanla's like, why did you write into a TV show then? And I do get it. There's a lot of cameras, you guys. There's a lot of cameras and there's a lot of lights. And the only reason I know that is because right now you guys think I'm just sitting in front of a camera. There's a lot of lights right now. So I get where she's coming from, and to have like all that lighting, all that staff. It's not only like camera crew, it's her personal assistants, it's the producers, it's people who are cooking and bringing in food. There's a lot of people. I'm pretty sure that it may seem like there's just 3 people in that house right now, but there's probably 20, 25 people in that house. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's just a private moment with her and Iyanla. It's like a mini audience around them. So then she sends Lauren back, and then she brings forth Kenitra. So Kenitra is talking about, again, how she let her family down and how she never meant to do that. And then she breaks down and talks about the fact that she was left alone 12 years ago when she had her son. That even the father of her son, like, just wasn't there and didn't support her, and it feels like it's all on her shoulders. And Iyanla brings up a very good point and be like, why do you have to be the only person responsible for getting pregnant? Like, wasn't there somebody else there? And she's like, yeah, but I guess he abandoned her. And to me, like, I don't know, like, that's one of the conversations I'm definitely going to have with my kids, is like there is no reason for you to get pregnant. Like, you can be on birth control. I'm not going to be one of those people or parents that are like, no birth control. I would put my child on birth control, but I know that I live in like a place of privilege because birth control is readily available in California, and I know it's not readily available in other places. So, and that's something that I think completely sucks. So the argument could be like, oh, well, I guess you shouldn't have been having sex. But it's like, until we get to a place where women aren't vying for men's attention and we don't socialize our daughters to believe that being in a relationship is paramount to anything else in their lives, and finding somebody to love them is paramount to anything else in their lives, we can't not necessarily hold them accountable for getting pregnant, but we can't judge them for it, because that's what happens when you have sex. Like, if men got pregnant, they would figure out a way so that no one would get pregnant if they didn't at a teenager. But it's because it's women who get pregnant. It becomes a woman's problem when she gets pregnant, and the man could just walk away and do whatever. And that's not fair. So you can't put the onus on a girl, especially a teenager. Now, a 25-year-old, a 20-year-old, yeah, you can put that onus on her. So then we move on to day 2 in the healing house, and Iyanla's wearing a really cute outfit. She's got like a gray sweater dress on with puffy sleeves, and then the cutest little like white floral patterned shoes that I think are just darling, darling, darling. And this is where we have the full breakdown of Lauren. Lauren, the night before, ends up saying that she doesn't want to be there and she's going to leave. Iyanla tells her that she made a promise as a woman to stick through the process, so she manages to stay. And then the next morning they try to do yoga with her and she doesn't want to do yoga. Girl, I feel you. You don't want to do yoga when you don't have yoga clothes ready and then in front of all these cameras. Like, I 100% feel it again. And Iyanla pulls her back from the edge, but is a little like aggressive with her when she's like, hey, you come here. I would have been like, no, ma'am. I'm sorry. What? Did you just clap at me? And I'm glad that Lauren didn't get upset and behave like me, because we would have had problems for that. It's a little disrespectful in my opinion. But okay, you know, she pulled her back. So Kenitra this whole time is really going forward and really doing better with this than anything else than Lauren. Lauren's having a very hard time. But I think Lauren ends up having a breakthrough at the end where she allows herself to cry about the situation, cry and wanting to be a better mother. Apparently she's a mother. We don't learn that Lauren's a mother until like the second part of the episode. So she has a child and she wants to be a better parent for her child. And it's just really nice and heartfelt to hear her say that. So after the yoga incident, Iyanla ends up having them do some work overnight, talking about answering some questions. And so she asks them if they want to answer the questions out loud. They say yes. And so the question is, what are you most ashamed of? Lauren says that she's being used and lied to. So I think I was a little bit correct when I said there must have been a pimp or somebody involved in her becoming into the game, because she felt led astray and wronged and lied to. And that's where she has her breakdown. That's when she has her breakthrough moment on the show. And Iyanla takes off her beanie and is like, you know, we want you to feel it and be in the pain and talk about it. So that was a really cool breakthrough moment, I think. Iyanla says that you have to be willing to kill your alter ego. So for Kenitra, she has to be willing to kill Monroe. For Lauren, she has to be willing to kill Tasha. And she's at a place where she's ready to do that, you know? And I think it was really interesting that Kenitra acknowledged the fact that she likes parts of her job, you know? And it's going to be hard to let it go because of the parts that she likes. And then it's going to be hard for Lauren to let it go because that's what Lauren has done since she was 15 years old. That's the difference between Kenitra and Lauren, is that Lauren's been doing it since she was 15. That's a really, really hard pattern to break. If that's your worth, that's who you identify as, that's who you see yourself as somebody forced into a situation like that, an invasion of privacy, and then being used and given like whatever amounts of money. And then you have Kenitra, who made a choice as an adult to be a prostitute, but then coming to terms with it and being like, this is what I need to do to feed my family. So I'm going to try to make the best of it. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to shut down, but I'm still going to be able to find the things about it that I enjoy so that I'm not completely in the dumps about it. And I'm just like, okay, needing the help to get out of it though is important. So they're both, you know, ripped up their silhouette that they had from the day before. It's a very cathartic moment, seemingly, and they're both very happy about the choices that they've made. The last bit of the segment is the girls with somebody who is a former prostitute who has a company or organization dedicated to helping girls get out of the life. I'm gonna put my eyeliner on and I'll be back. Good. I thought this was a good episode, personally. I thought that she was very clear with her message. There were some things that I'm just like, oh, you know, I don't want it to be like, oh, sex working as in general is bad. I think if you're up to it and it's in your spirit to do it and you feel empowered and good as a woman doing it and you're being safe, like, more power to you. But children who are forced into it, or adults, women who are forced into it, and the whole sex trafficking and all of that, that is a deeply ugly, terrible side of it, that I think a lot of people feel like the negative of that life is so negative that it's hard to see anything else but that. It's hard to see anything but the negative of it because it overshadows the part of it that's okay, that's positive and empowering to women and people around the world who do it. I'm gonna do a gray lip because I'm feeling like a gray lip. All right, guys, that's the final look. I hope you think it's simple. I tried to do something simple last week and some people were like, that isn't quite simple enough. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something super simple this week. And I hope that that was simple enough for you guys. I felt like it was pretty simple, right? Just foundation, blush, eyeliner. I mean, it already sounds like it's too much, but it was simple. Okay, you guys, so that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I put on my bamboos and a necklace, you know what I'm saying? Give a little gold, give a little highlight to what's going on my face already. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or would like to join the conversation, please leave a comment down below. All of the things that I put on my face will be linked in the description box, so check that out if you have any questions. And remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye!